Do you ever find yourself lying awake, perhaps with a slight unease, worrying about something happening while you sleep? As we gracefully age, our bodies naturally undergo subtle and not-so-subtle changes. We don't always consciously notice how these changes can affect our daily routines. Sometimes, even seemingly simple things that we do every night without a second thought can unexpectedly introduce certain risks. Sleep, ideally, should be a restorative sanctuary, a time for our bodies to fully rest, repair, and rejuvenate. But, unfortunately, for some seniors, common nighttime habits can inadvertently transform this period of rest into a potentially dangerous time. Today, on Old Age Wisdom, we're going to shed light on 7 surprisingly common nighttime habits that many of us engage in. Actually, more specifically, we'll be focusing on the 4 main risk areas these habits tend to create. These are the issues that often go unnoticed. Individually, these habits may seem relatively harmless and insignificant, but collectively, they can contribute to or exacerbate serious health problems over time. If you're interested in simple solutions that promote safer sleep, why not consider subscribing to Old Age Wisdom and becoming part of our community of proactive seniors? We're glad to have you here. We're talking about issues that can subtly but significantly raise your risk of falls, place undue strain on your precious heart, make breathing comfortably more challenging, or even interact negatively and unexpectedly with medications you may be taking. It's crucial that we become aware of these potential dangers, not to induce fear or anxiety, but simply to empower ourselves to make informed choices and prioritize our safety. The good news is that knowledge is indeed power, and frequently, the solutions are remarkably simple and readily achievable. This is genuinely important advice for seniors seeking to safeguard their well-being. I'll provide clear, easy-to-understand explanations and offer actionable, real-world steps you can take immediately to make your nights safer and more restful. Please stay tuned and watch the entire video, because the very last habit we discuss centers on the potential interactions of common medications, a topic that affects so many of us. Everyone who regularly takes pills, whether prescription or over-the-counter, absolutely needs to be aware of this information. It could significantly impact your health and safety. If you are genuinely interested in learning practical, actionable strategies to protect your health and well-being while you sleep, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Old Age Wisdom right now, and be sure to click that notification bell so you'll never miss out on our insightful videos filled with valuable advice. Let's dive in, starting with one of the biggest safety concerns facing seniors today: the risk of falling, particularly during the nighttime hours. It's undoubtedly a scary thought, but unfortunately, it represents a very real danger for many. 2 very common bedtime habits, often intertwined, significantly elevate this risk. The first culprit is the seemingly innocuous act of getting out of bed too quickly. You wake up, perhaps needing to use the bathroom, and feel a sense of urgency in the dimly lit darkness. Almost instinctively, you just swing your legs over the side of the bed and stand right up abruptly. It feels completely normal and automatic. You've likely been doing it this way your entire adult life. But here's the potential problem. After lying horizontally for several hours, your blood has naturally pooled a bit in your lower body, especially your legs. When you stand up too rapidly, your heart and blood vessels require a moment to catch up. They need a short period of adjustment to effectively pump that blood back up to your brain. As we gracefully age, this critical adjustment system, this reflex, often slows down somewhat. Consequently, standing up too quickly can cause your blood pressure to drop suddenly and sharply, potentially leading to dizziness. Doctors refer to this condition as orthostatic hypotension or postural hypotension. What does this sensation actually feel like? It's that sudden dizzy feeling, that lightheadedness, perhaps accompanied by seeing spots or feeling like you might actually pass out. It usually only lasts for a few fleeting seconds, but those few seconds can be incredibly dangerous. That's often all it takes to lose your balance and fall, especially when you're still groggy with sleep and the surroundings are dimly lit. And we all know that falls can cause terrible injuries for older adults, ranging from broken hips and fractured wrists to serious head injuries. Tragically, these types of injuries can necessitate long hospital stays and permanently diminish your independence and quality of life. The second common habit that significantly raises nighttime fall risk is drinking excessive amounts of liquid too close to bedtime. Again, maintaining adequate hydration is absolutely important. Our bodies definitely need water to function optimally. However, the timing of your fluid intake matters considerably as you get older. Our bladders naturally tend to become less stretchy and elastic with age, meaning they don't hold as much fluid as they once did. Additionally, our kidneys might also continue to work actively overnight, processing fluids. So, if you consume a large glass of water, a big mug of herbal tea, or even a glass of juice right before climbing into bed, you're almost guaranteed to wake up needing to use the bathroom, perhaps multiple times throughout the night. And that's not just an annoyance, it's potentially quite risky. Think about it. You're sleepy, maybe a little disoriented, attempting to navigate your way to the bathroom in the dark. This scenario creates a perfect setup for a fall. Add to that the possible dizziness from standing up too quickly because you feel rushed, and you've created a very dangerous mix. Plus, all that fragmented, interrupted sleep is terrible for your overall health. It weakens your immune system, impairing your ability to fight off infections, and negatively affects your cognitive function, making it harder to concentrate and remember things. So, what's the practical, actionable advice for seniors seeking to lower this major fall risk? You need to proactively address both habits. First, adopt and consistently practice the safe wake-up routine. Before even sitting up, gently wiggle your fingers and toes to stimulate circulation. Then, pump your ankles up and down rhythmically. Slowly roll over onto your side. Next, use your arms to gently push yourself up to a sitting position on the edge of the bed, keeping your feet flat on the floor. Pause in this seated position for a full 15 to 30 seconds, allowing your body ample time to adjust to the change in position. Only then should you stand up slowly and deliberately, using a mobility aid or support if needed. Pause again briefly before taking your first steps. Second, mindfully manage your fluid intake. Drink the majority of your liquids earlier in the day, tapering off significantly in the 2 to 3 hours leading up to bedtime. Take only small sips of water if you feel thirsty. Avoid caffeine and alcohol, as both can stimulate your bladder. Elevating your legs for a short period before bed can also help some people by reducing fluid retention in the lower extremities. Third, make your bedroom as safe as possible. Use soft, ambient night lights to illuminate your path. Keep the walking path completely clear of any tripping hazards, such as loose rugs or clutter. Wear non-slip slippers to provide better traction on smooth floors. And consider installing grab bars in your bathroom, especially near the toilet and shower, for added support. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please show your support by commenting "Stay steady" below. Your engagement helps us create more content you'll love. And if you haven't joined the Old Age Wisdom community yet, I highly recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss out on any of our upcoming videos packed with actionable advice. Number 2, sleep should be a peaceful time for your heart and circulatory system to rest and recover. During the deepest stages of sleep, your heart rate and blood pressure naturally decrease to their lowest levels. This provides this vitally important system with a much-needed respite, allowing it to repair and rejuvenate. However, certain common bedtime habits can disrupt this natural restorative process. They can inadvertently force your heart to work harder than it should and place unnecessary extra strain on your circulation. This is particularly important advice for seniors, especially if you already have pre-existing heart concerns or risk factors. One significant factor to be aware of is sleeping in a room that is excessively warm. As we discussed in some of our prior videos, our bodies don't always regulate temperature as efficiently as we age. We may not sweat as readily to cool ourselves down. For example, if your bedroom is too warm, typically defined as over 67 degrees Fahrenheit or approximately 19 to 20 degrees Celsius, your body will struggle to maintain its optimal core temperature. To try and compensate and lower your body temperature, your heart has to pump more blood to the surface of your skin. This means your heart is essentially working harder with an elevated heart rate and blood pressure, precisely when it should be resting and recovering. This increased workload can be especially hard on seniors who already have high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, or other underlying heart problems. Also, getting too hot while you sleep will inevitably make you sweat more and lose fluids, potentially leading to mild dehydration. Dehydration thickens your blood slightly, increasing the risk of blood clots forming, which in turn can elevate the risk of serious cardiovascular events like a heart attack or stroke while you're sleeping. Another common habit that can strain your heart during the nighttime hours is consuming large or heavy meals too close to bedtime. When you eat a substantial meal, especially one that is rich in fats or carbohydrates, your digestive system kicks in a high gear. This digestive process requires a significant amount of blood flow to be directed to your stomach and intestines. As a result, your heart rate and blood pressure tend to remain elevated for several hours after the meal, preventing that beneficial dip during sleep. This constant workload can trigger problems like irregular heartbeats at night or simply prevent your cardiovascular system from achieving the deep, restorative rest it needs to function optimally. Even your preferred sleep position can potentially play a small role in cardiovascular health. While perhaps not as critical a factor as room temperature or late-night eating for most people, some studies suggest that routinely sleeping on your right side might place slight pressure on the inferior vena cava, the large vein responsible for bringing blood back to the heart from the lower body. This could potentially make circulation a little less efficient than sleeping on your left side. While the scientific evidence isn't overwhelmingly strong, for seniors with pre-existing heart failure or other circulatory problems, consciously trying to sleep on their left side might offer a slight benefit. So what is the protective advice for seniors seeking to promote optimal nighttime heart health? First and foremost, keep your bedroom consistently cool and comfortable. Ideally, aim for a temperature range between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Use layers of breathable cotton bedding, as opposed to heavy synthetic materials that tend to trap heat and moisture. Ensure you finish your dinner at least 3 to 4 hours before bedtime, allowing adequate time for digestion to occur. If you feel the need for a later night snack, keep it very light and easily digestible, and try to favor sleeping on your left side, using pillows for support if needed. I knew a gentleman with mild high blood pressure who often complained of feeling his heart racing a bit at night. He consciously made an effort to cool down his bedroom significantly and stopped indulging in his usual large bowl of ice cream right before bed. He reported that he not only slept much better, but also woke up feeling considerably more rested and didn't notice his heartbeat as much at night. Taking consistent care of your heart, even while you are asleep, is of paramount importance for overall well-being. If you're still tuned in and this message resonates with you, please show your support by commenting "Healthy Heart" below. And please strongly consider subscribing to Old Age Wisdom and turning on those notifications if you haven't already. We're thrilled to have you as part of our community. Number 3. Obtaining sufficient oxygen throughout the entire night is absolutely essential for the proper functioning of every part of your body, especially your brain and your precious heart. Sadly, certain common habits and conditions prevalent among older adults can make it difficult to breathe easily while sleeping, leading to serious health risks over time. The most commonly encountered problem is often related to ignoring or dismissing snoring or gasping during sleep as harmless noise. Loud, frequent snoring, particularly if it's punctuated by noticeable pauses followed by a loud gasp, is far from being just harmless noise. It's often the primary sign of obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. This is a potentially serious medical condition in which the soft tissues and muscles in the back of your throat repeatedly collapse and obstruct your airway during sleep. This blockage temporarily stops airflow for several seconds, sometimes longer, causing the oxygen levels in your blood to plummet. Your brain then briefly awakens you, often without you even remembering it, to restart the breathing process, usually with a loud gasp or snort. This cycle can happen hundreds of times a night, disrupting your sleep and placing immense strain on your cardiovascular system and your brain. All that stopping and starting of breathing and the repeated drops in blood oxygen put a tremendous strain on your heart and brain. Untreated sleep apnea significantly elevates the risk of developing or worsening high blood pressure, experiencing a heart attack or stroke, developing irregular heartbeats such as atrial fibrillation, and even suffering from cognitive problems and dementia later in life. What factors make sleep apnea more likely or worsen its severity? A significant factor is sleeping flat on your back. When you lie flat on your back, gravity naturally pulls your tongue and the soft tissues in your throat downwards and backwards. If your muscle tone is already somewhat weakened due to age or other factors, these tissues can easily collapse and obstruct your airway. Sleeping on your back is frequently the worst possible sleeping position for people who snore habitually or who have been diagnosed with sleep apnea. So what practical steps can you take to address this issue? This is crucial advice for seniors and their partners. First and foremost, don't ignore the warning signs. If you snore loudly and frequently, or if your partner notices that you are gasping, choking, or stopping breathing altogether during sleep, please take these signs seriously and schedule a conversation with your doctor. They might recommend that you undergo a sleep study, which, thankfully, can often be conveniently conducted in the comfort of your own home these days. And please know that effective treatment options are readily available. If you are diagnosed with sleep apnea, treatments such as a CPAP, continuous positive airway pressure, machine can be truly life-changing. This device uses gentle, continuous air pressure delivered through a mask to keep your airway open throughout the night, allowing you to breathe normally and obtain the restful, restorative sleep you desperately need. Beyond seeking appropriate medical evaluation and treatment, you can also try your best to consciously avoid sleeping flat on your back. Make a deliberate effort to sleep on your side, especially your left side if possible. To help with this, you can use positional aids, such as tucking a firm body pillow snugly behind your back to make it more difficult to roll over onto your back during the night. Elevating your head slightly with a supportive pillow, or even raising the head of your bed just a little bit, using bed risers, can also use gravity to your advantage and help keep your airway more open. Finally, don't forget those essential lifestyle factors. Avoiding alcohol and sedative medications before bedtime is important, as these substances tend to relax the throat muscles, potentially worsening obstruction. And maintaining a healthy weight can also significantly help reduce sleep apnea symptoms for many individuals. I remember talking to a woman whose husband snored so loudly that she had been forced to sleep in a separate room for years. He was also chronically tired throughout the day, despite getting what he thought was enough sleep. He eventually underwent a sleep study, was diagnosed with severe OSA, and started using a CPAP machine consistently. The transformation was almost instantaneous. His snoring stopped completely, his daytime energy levels returned dramatically, his blood pressure improved, and his wife could finally sleep peacefully next to him again. Breathing easily all night long is absolutely crucial for overall health and well-being. If you're still with us and you pledge to pay closer attention to your snoring patterns or your preferred sleep position, please show your support by commenting "Breathe Easy" below. And please don't forget to subscribe to Old Age Wisdom and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss our valuable content. Number 4. This last risk area is incredibly important, and it's something that many seniors and even some doctors unfortunately overlook from time to time. The potential dangers linked to the medications we take, particularly those taken at night. As we gracefully age, the use of multiple medications, often referred to as polypharmacy, becomes increasingly common. Therefore, understanding how these medications affect us, especially while we are asleep, is of paramount importance. This is absolutely critical advice for all seniors. The main issue stems from the fact that our bodies tend to handle medications differently as we age. Our liver and kidneys, the primary organs responsible for metabolizing and eliminating drugs, may work somewhat slower or less efficiently. This means that medications can stay in our systems for longer periods of time or potentially have stronger effects than they would have when we were younger. A dose that was perfectly safe and effective at age 50 might now be too strong or produce more bothersome side effects at age 75 or 80. Let's talk specifically about sleeping pills, since this is a commonly used medication class. They might seem like a quick and convenient fix for persistent sleep problems, but many common types, especially benzodiazepines such as Valium, Xanax, and Ativan, and the related Z drugs such as Ambien, carry significant risks for older adults. They work by slowing down activity in the central nervous system, which can, in turn, slow down your breathing rate during sleep. This is especially dangerous if you already have underlying sleep apnea or lung problems. More commonly, these medications tend to cause troublesome hangover effects, such as feeling excessively sleepy, dizzy, confused, and experiencing impaired balance, especially when getting up during the night or first thing in the morning. This greatly increases the risk of falls and related injuries. Also, long-term use of these sleeping aids has been linked in some studies to cognitive decline, memory issues, and even a higher risk of eventually developing dementia. However, it's not just sleeping pills that can cause problems. Other medications often taken at night can also contribute to potential risks. Certain painkillers, especially strong opioid painkillers, can also cause excessive sleepiness, confusion, and slowed breathing. Even some blood pressure medications, if taken right at bedtime, could possibly cause your blood pressure to drop too low while you sleep. While effectively controlling high blood pressure is absolutely crucial for preventing strokes and heart attacks, a blood pressure that drops excessively overnight can reduce blood flow to vital organs, such as the brain and heart. This could, paradoxically, increase the risk of stroke or fainting, especially when you initially wake up. And, of course, the more medications you take overall, the higher the risk of potentially dangerous drug interactions. This occurs when one medication dangerously increases the effect of another, or conversely, prevents another medication from working correctly. Your body may struggle to handle multiple drugs safely, especially during the prolonged sleep period. So, what's the essential advice for seniors regarding nighttime medications? The single most important step you can take is to regularly review everything you are taking with your primary care physician or a qualified pharmacist. And I mean everything. Bring a comprehensive list of all of your prescription medications, over-the-counter drugs, vitamins, herbal supplements, and any other remedies you use. Discuss with your doctor or pharmacist why you're taking each one, the prescribed dose, and especially the timing of administration. Don't be afraid to ask specific, pointed questions, such as, is it absolutely necessary for me to continue taking this particular medication at night, or could taking it earlier in the day be a safer option? Could a lower dose possibly be safer for me now, given my age and other health conditions? Or, are there any non-drug alternatives we could explore first, such as lifestyle changes or physical therapy? It's especially important to question the long-term use of sleeping pills. Are they really the best long-term solution? Or could we try exploring behavioral strategies for better sleep first, such as improving your sleep hygiene, establishing a regular sleep schedule, or using relaxation techniques? Sleeping pills should ideally be reserved for short-term use only, and always under close medical supervision. And crucially, never, ever stop taking a prescribed medication suddenly without first consulting your doctor, as abruptly discontinuing certain medications can be quite dangerous and trigger withdrawal symptoms. Finally, monitor yourself closely for any adverse effects. Pay close attention to how you feel, especially upon waking up. Are you excessively groggy? Do you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or confused? Are you experiencing any balance problems? If you notice any side effects like these, report them promptly to your doctor or pharmacist. Being smart, proactive, and engaged in your own health care is of paramount importance. Don't simply assume that a pill that was prescribed to you years ago is still the right choice or the correct dose for you today, given the changes that occur in our bodies over time. Being informed and vigilant about your medications is absolutely key for maintaining your health and safety. If you're still watching and you commit to reviewing your nighttime medications with your doctor or pharmacist, please show your support by commenting "Safe Meds" below. And if you haven't already subscribed to Old Age Wisdom, please do so and turn on those notifications. We'd love to have you as a part of our community. So, we've now covered 4 major risk areas linked to common bedtime habits for seniors. The danger of falls and dizziness from getting out of bed too quickly or drinking too many fluids late in the evening. The strain on your heart and circulation from sleeping in a room that's too warm, eating heavy meals too close to bedtime, or routinely sleeping on your right side. Potential breathing problems connected to undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea and suboptimal sleeping positions, and the possible problems with nighttime medications and potential drug interactions. It might initially seem like a lot to think about and process, but please don't feel overwhelmed or scared. The primary message that I hope you take away from today's discussion is one of empowerment. Simply being aware of these potential risks allows you to take simple, proactive steps to protect your health and well-being. While these common habits can indeed have serious consequences, the power to prevent most of them comes from making small, thoughtful changes to your evening routine. This proactive and positive thinking is good advice for all seniors. It's about thoughtfully taking control of your nighttime environment and habits to promote safer, more restful sleep, and, ultimately, better overall health. If this video provided you with valuable warnings, actionable solutions, and a sense of empowerment, please give it a thumbs up by clicking the like button. Sharing this crucial information with other seniors you care about could truly make a positive difference in their lives. And please subscribe to Old Age Wisdom for more essential health advice tailored specifically for seniors. Let me know in the comments section below, which bedtime habit will you focus on changing first, and what small step will you take tonight? Thank you very much for watching. Sleep safe, sleep well, and be well.